Pranam Maharaj, welcome to Ramakrishna Kutir, Almora. I believe you are coming to Almora after about 20 years, is it?
Yes, well, first of all, thank you for having me. And uh, as far as I recall, I was here more than 20 years ago. And so it's wonderful to be back.
So, Almora, as you know, has been very close to Swamiji's heart, and he has been here three times. So, what, as per you, is the significance of Almora? What do you see Almora as?
Swami Vivekananda regarded this as Devabhumi, the holy land, the land of the gods. He was asked, how do you regard India after he came back to India from the West, after having seen the power and the wealth of the West? He said that India was holy to me, but after coming back, this has become the Tirtha, the place of pilgrimage, the holy land, and more so with regard to the Himalayas. He said in one place, the highest and best memories of our race are bound up with this land, the land of the Himalayas. And when he came to Almora, as you said, he came thrice. First time he came, he was struck by the not only the beauty, the solitude, but the, if you will, the spiritual vibration of the place. So we read about how he comes near Almora to the place which we know as Kakri Ghat. He saw this as a wonderful place for meditation. He sits in meditation and plunges into deep contemplation. When he comes out, he said he had a remarkable realization. He tells Swami Akhandanandaji, who was accompanying him, that he realized the oneness of the macrocosm and the microcosm. As he put it, he saw the universe in an atom. Um, and why this is significant is we find this is a theme with him when he goes to the West and he starts the talks which he had given in the West. In fact, there are talks which are actually called macrocosm and microcosm, which are included as part of the what we find the Jnana Yoga lectures today. And it formed a central theme with Swami Vivekananda. And to Almora, the land here must go the credit for the place where he deepened his realization of that theme. So, if you see Vivekananda, his work had these two dimensions. One was building a bridge between India and the West through America, through which would flow the spiritual heritage of India, the knowledge and wisdom of India across the world. So from that was one side of his work, and the second was the awakening and the rejuvenation of his motherland. And in both places, the significance of Almora is tremendous. It was here, in fact, that one of his closest British disciples, E.T. Sturdy, who was already interested in yoga and meditation, he was here practicing. He met Swami Shivananda, and through Swami Shivananda, he became aware of Swami Vivekananda. So most of the Western disciples actually first came across Vivekananda, but in this case, it was in Almora that Shivanandaji met Sturdy and told him about Vivekananda, which led to Sturdy's introduction invitation to Vivekananda to come and visit England and teach Vedanta in England. So that was one of the ways in which Almora is very significant. It played a role of a catalyst, a bringing together of minds, if you will, which helped him in his mission to spread Vedanta in the West. Um, it was also here that he saw the beauty and the power of this place. He wanted Himalayan centers in the West. He wrote a letter to his English disciples, the saviors, that he wanted a place in the Himalayas which would be a particular place in the Alps which inspired him. He wanted a place like that in the Himalayas, and eventually that led to the establishment of the Mayaviti Advaita ashram. But also he encouraged Swami Shivananda, Swami Turyananda especially, to set up this ashram, so the Ramakrishna Kutir. That was definitely, it can be traced back to Swami Vivekananda's experience here in Almora. And there are other themes of Vivekananda which are interwoven. We can find resonances with his visit to Almora. I mean, even the very famous anecdote of how he collapsed out of exhaustion, and a poor Muslim fakir uh, gave him a piece of cucumber to revive him. And Vivekananda says, "You put it in my mouth." And in those days, there was a lot of caste restrictions and feelings of who can eat what from whose hand. And the Muslim fakir, he he hesitated. He said, I'm a Muslim, you're a Hindu monk. Vivekananda said, are we not all brothers? Very characteristically, he said. And he accepted that, um, the cucumber from this Muslim fakir. Later, when he came back from the West, he acknowledged it in front of a big audience. He said, this is the man who saved me. But this finds resonance in his teaching of the harmony of religions. It's here in Almora, in fact, in one of the first public addresses which he gave. He said, the divinity within each one of us, that is the essential goal of all religions. The rest is mere froth. The day will come when the interfighting between sects, between my religion is right and yours is wrong, this will cease. So that theme also we find in the anecdote of the fakir and being fed the cucumber by the fakir. Um, then there's another side to Vivekananda. His training and inspiration of Sister Nivedita, which again happened here in Almora. And he fashioned Nivedita into a carrier of his message and his mission, especially for India, also in the West, but not especially for India. And what Nivedita accomplished, I think we really have not acknowledged as yet the dimensions, the depth and breadth of what she accomplished for India. We all know of her, how we know how Tata was inspired by Vivekananda, which led to the establishment of the what is now the present Indian Institute of Science for fundamental science research in India. But many of us do not know the role that Nivedita played. She struggled strenuously with the British government to get permission, which they refused. Vivekananda had passed away. Tata had passed away. It's Nivedita who fought for the establishment of the Indian Institute of Science. It's Nivedita who encouraged J.C. Bose and which led to the establishment of the Bose Institute in Calcutta, one of the premier science institutes, fundamental science institutes in India till today. But you can trace the connection through Boshi Sen here, who was a disciple of Vivekananda, inspired by Vivekananda, and the Vivekananda Institute, a laboratory here for study of biology, plant biology. So this dimension of linking spirituality with education. Vivekananda said, all knowledge is spiritual. He says in one of his talks that in India we worship, we revere the person who studies Vedanta, we bow down to the person, and we think nothing of the one who studies maybe science or physics. And he says that is superstition. It's all knowledge, including scientific knowledge, it is all spiritual. And he says the discovery of this knowledge is a sadhana. So science also. Vivekananda inspired not only the fundamental research in science, but also he inspired women's education. That also is linked with Almora. It is here he got the devastating news of his sister's suicide. And he became keenly aware of the sorrows of Indian womanhood. And what was one of his main tasks was to do something for them for the uplift of women of India. And training Nivedita and commissioning her, as it were, to start schools for girls, which she did in Calcutta actually. So these are various ways in which Almora. I could go on, but Almora has a very significant role to play. Not only historical significance, but significant for modern day India and for the future of India and the world. So yes, the significance of Almora is very deep indeed.
Yeah. Thanks, Maharaj, for such an exhaustive details about the significance of Almora. So now this is a spiritual retreat which Almora Kutir is organizing, and the main topic is Aparoksha Anubhuti. So that we know it's one of the Prakarana Granthas, introductory texts of Advaita Vedanta. But there are many texts like Digdishya Viveka, Vivek Chudamani, Panchadashi, etc. But what made you choose this Aparoksha Anubhuti? What is the significance of this?
I think it's Almora and it's the place, the Himalayas. So Swami Vivekananda wanted this to be a place not only for action, but also for quiet contemplation. And by that he meant the study, the contemplation, practice, and teaching of Vedanta. And Vedanta, the fundamental texts, of course, are the Upanishads. And based on that, the Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutras also. But Adi Shankaracharya, who is a central figure in Advaita Vedanta, he composed a number of independent works. So if you have to study Vedanta in a short compass of time and space, so there are these texts called Prakarana Granthas. One of the most famous is Aparokshanubhuti. So if one wants to get a feel for Advaita Vedanta, one wants to get the essence of Advaita Vedanta within a few classes, um, a study of the Aparokshanubhuti, at least parts of it, uh, would would I think serve the purpose. That was my idea in thinking that maybe I could take up Aparokshanubhuti here. Of course, we are not going to read the whole text here. We don't have time for that. My intention is to give a feel for Advaita Vedanta and create some taste and excitement for the subject.
Okay. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank
Thank
you.
you for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much.
Thank you.